to my channel. Today I wanted to have a little bit of fun and rank some Jules Verne books because I recently just finished reading Un drame en Livonie, which was translated as a drama in Livonia. And with this, I have now read 9 Jules Verne books, and I wanted to sort of rank them so that as I continue to read his books, I can get a good feel for which ones I kind of didn't like as much and which ones I really, really did like. So these are the books in question, except for one, which is The Mysterious Island, L'île Mystérieuse, which I read as a kid, and I read it in English and it's at home in the US. The rest of these are all written in French, the original French, and I read them in the original French, and I've read them more recently. But I wanted to give you a little overview of what these books are. So let me get out my computer so I don't give you any wrong information. But yeah, these books are from a very large series of Jules Verne's books that are called Les Voyages extraordinaires, so the extraordinary voyages, the extraordinary adventures. And there are 54 books in that series, included some books that so 54 books, and then on top of that there were some books that were published posthumously, and those were not incomplete works, and for the majority they were completed by Jules Verne's son. But I do have one of those books as well, so 54 plus books in the series. I have now read 9, so you can see I still have quite a ways to go. I have 6 more in my possession that I need to read, and then after that I will have to go buy some more so I can continue reading these, because I absolutely love Jules Verne and I love this series. So what are the extraordinary adventures, Les Voyages extraordinaires? It is, according to the editor of Jules Verne, let me quote this, the purpose of the voyages was to outline all the geographical, geological, physical, historical, and astronomical knowledge amassed by modern science, and to recount in an entertaining and picturesque format the history of the universe. I think the key words is definitely universe, and then entertaining and picturesque, because it really, Jules' writing definitely is exactly that. It's just, he creates these worlds that are so much fun because it is our world, it is our history, it is our science. But then he writes about it in such an engrossing yet very simple way. But it's a manner that just really pulls you in, really makes you turn the page. You're enchanted, you're delighted, you have fun, you get to question a few things. Some characters, well, a lot of characters very often, they're not really like very pleasant people. They all sort of have these very like hard ambitions. They all have an ego because they're trying to accomplish something and things are getting in their way. But that's kind of what creates the fun and the adventure in these stories. So for me, Jules Verne is just a real pleasure to read. I often read him when I want like a palate refresher. I want something light. I want something energetic to read. And I just want to have fun with my reading. That's when I pull out a Jules Verne. So today I'm going to rank the books that I have. And I'm going to keep my computer here because I do need to be able to see the English titles of some of these books, just because I don't remember what they were. The translation will change just a little bit. So, and if you can hear grunting in the background, the firefighter department is doing exercises outside. So every once in a while they start grunting for no reason, but hopefully you can't hear that. So I'm going to start with the most easiest to rank, which will be the one I like the least at the bottom. And that is Robur le Conquérant, which I believe I read last year. Robur le Conquérant, which was translated as... what was it translated as? Was it just... Robur the Conqueror? Yeah, Robur the Conqueror, there we go. So yeah, Robur le Conquérant, I liked this the least. So we're gonna put this at the very bottom because it's about, well, it was actually very, very exciting, but it's about this man who is in an organization that is trying to create a new, basically an airplane, but a new flying contraption. And he gets kidnapped by the owner of this right here, this boat with all these sails that can fly through the air. And basically, it's a book that explores the history of airplanes, basically, and the history of flight. And he gets kidnapped because he was telling that this was impossible, and the man of this sort of contraption wanted to prove that it is possible and shows this is what it is. And he's a horrible, despicable person. But I just really dislike this because the treatment of the black, what's it called? The black domestic was really, really bad. I mean, Jules Verne doesn't really go in that direction so much, and like he might have some characters that like aren't as not friendly to their domestics, but he usually doesn't go on full on racist. But this book, definitely the black domestic was treated very, very poorly, and I just like his characters aren't usually likable, and I'm totally fine with this, but this was just extremely unpleasant to read. So Robur le Conquérant is the one I don't like that much. It's not a least favorite, it's just one I don't like. So this is going to be at the bottom. And then, let's see, I have 20 lieues sous les mers, and I have Voyage au centre de la terre. So these are the two biggest, most famous Jules Verne's books, right? You have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and you have Journey to the Center of the Earth. So these are going to be towards the top of the list, I think. Although Journey to the Center of the Earth for me is higher. So I'm going to keep this a little bit up high. And let's see what else I have. I have Les Indes noires, which is translated to something entirely different. It's called it would help if I flip this over. Les Indes noires is called The Child in the Cavern. And I really like this one. This one is about basically going into a mine and finding basically a town that lives there and have always been living there and are very much keen on keeping their living situation and don't like this interruption to their lifestyle. So the whole idea of this this world underground and people who don't go up to the sun, I really like this. And it was full of mystery and darkness and like terror, and this one was quite fun. So this is definitely higher up. L'Étoile du Sud, which has a different title as well. It's not, so L'Étoile du Sud just means the Star of the South, but it has a different title in English. Right, the Vanish Diamond. The Vanish Diamond is about a man who believes he has created artificially a black diamond, and he tries to find a way to repeat his experiment to create this black diamond. But in the meantime, the diamond has been stolen, and we go into this incredibly wild adventure in South Africa, well, all over South Africa, trying to retrieve this stolen diamond. And this was so much fun, so much adventure. Really absolutely love this one. This is the reason that I was so surprised by the treatment of black people, or the black domestic in Robur le Conquérant, because this takes place in Africa and you don't get that treatment. On the contrary, everyone is quite respected and everyone is treated like normal, like just a regular human being, which is why I was so surprised by this one. So this one is actually quite high on my list. I really love this one. So this is the Vanish Diamond. And I don't know, for now, we're going to put them together with Les Indes noires, because I really do love this one. Ooh, I really love these two. Let's see what else. I have the one I read recently, Un drame en Livonie, which is actually fun. I was quite surprised by this because there is no science fiction element to this. There is no globe trotting or anything like this. It's really just actually a sort of very simple murder mystery, which I was not expecting at all. Because the thing is that all these books I have are old. They're from the 1960s, and they do not have summaries on the back. They do not have any blurbs, and I don't look up what they're about before I start reading them. I just pick them up and I start reading. So I go into each Jules Verne super blind. I have no idea what I'm up for. And this turned into a murder mystery, so I was really surprised by that, because there's absolutely nothing that's science fiction-y about this at all. So this one I do like, but it's going to be towards the bottom, I think. So for now, we're just going to put it above Robur le Conquérant, or French titles, right, above Robur le Conquérant. So that's where that's going to go. And then I have, gosh, these are all good. I don't know how I'm going to rank these. I have Les Tribulations d'un Chinois en Chine, which is the Tribulations of a Chinaman in China. This one I also really liked. It's about a very rich man who's very discontent with life. He's very bored with life because he's already basically, you know, he's won Monopoly, right? He's rich, he can have whatever he wants, but now he's bored, and he decides he wants to end his life, but to sort of have a final taste of kind of what life could be like, the sentiments that make life worth living. He tells his domestic that he gives his domestic a task, saying, you have 2 months to kill me. I don't want to know when, I don't want to know how, and I will write a note that will keep you from being suspected. So you will, if you are allowed to kill me, I want you to kill me, but you are and you will not be basically punished for my murder. Basically, it will be seen as a suicide no matter what. And in those 2 months, he feels the fear that he feels, sort of, or like the anticipation that he feels from knowing that he's going to get killed someday, actually makes him sort of re-enjoy his life again and re-feel again. And he wants to call off the bet, and he's ready to live again. But unfortunately, he put out a will, and his will, if he dies, gives a lot of money to this domestic. So now the domestic has a real reason to kill him. And so he flees and tries to find a way to persuade the domestic not to basically complete the task. So this was a really great adventure. Absolutely loved this. It did not have any of the sort of like tropes and sort of stereotypes of Chinese people that you could fear you would be very right to fear in a book of this age. But I didn't feel anything of that at all. I just thought it was a fun story that happens to take place in China with Chinese people. But I absolutely love this one. I'm gonna say, because this does not have a science fiction element, and I do like the science fiction elements in the Jules Verne universe, like that's what makes them so special, I'm gonna put them below The Children in the Cavern and the Vanish Diamond, because those do have a science fiction element. So that's what I think, that's where we're gonna go with that. Oh, this one is good too. Then I have La Chasse au météore. La Chasse au météore was just, also has a different, La Chasse au météore just means chasing the meteor, but this has a different title in English, which is called, The Chase of the Golden Meteor. So it does give a little descriptor, The Chase of the Golden Meteor. And this one is about two men who have discovered a meteor and claim it for their own, but there's a man on the other side of the globe who also wants to claim it for his own, but he can actually bring it down to Earth, because it turns out this meteor, whoever is able to get a hold of it will become a trillionaire basically, and it's that chase. And so this one was good too. This was so good. And the thing is that this one, for me, it has one of the best openings in Jules Verne's. It just opens, so this takes place, like, it mostly takes place in the US. At least the two people who discover the meteor at the very beginning are in the US. And it opens on this scene of this man on his horse who keeps just riding down the main street of the village, and he keeps going back and forth. because he is a little bit early to a rendezvous and he's trying to kill time until he has to go to his rendezvous. And that opening and the description of that opening for me was just really bold and just really, oh, it just really put me into the book. So I'm gonna rank this, I would say high. Vanish Diamond in Africa, The Child in the Cavern in the Mines, and then The Chase of the Meteor. You know what? I'm gonna put The Child in the Mine on the bottom. I'm gonna put The Chase of the Golden Meteor in the middle, and then I'm gonna put the African Vanish Diamond on top. And the firefighters are grunting again, which puts Drame en Livonie underneath the Tribulations of the Chinaman in China, and then Robur the Conqueror on the bottom, because this one I actually did not like and do not really recommend. So that leaves me with 3 books, which leaves me with Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and then The Mysterious Island. So the only thing with The Mysterious Island is I read that as a kid and I absolutely loved it. It's definitely one of my favorites, but I have not reread it recently. So I do not know. I feel like I need to reread it before I put a definitive. I don't know. Yeah, like a definitive ranking. But it's definitely going to be on the top. So for now, Journey to the Center of the Earth is definitely higher than 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, because 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, although it is absolutely amazing, it is quite long, and I do know it's going to put off a lot of people, the length, and especially like it's long because he spends paragraphs and paragraphs describing every single thing in the ocean. Like he'll be like, and they came upon some clamshells, and then he gives you a 5-page Wikipedia article about every single species and genus and family of clamshells. So I think the length is a little bit of a deterrent for most people, and I wouldn't disrecommend an abridged version. I'm not an abridged reader, but I wouldn't say no if you wanted to read the abridged version. So I am going to put 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea under the Tribulations of a Chinaman in China. I know this is blasphemy. One of his most famous books is lower on the list. But that's what I'm feeling right now, because it is a long book. It is long. And then I will put... I mean, the ones at the top are pretty much all equal level. They're not really... I can't really say that one ranks above the other. But Journey to the Center of the Earth, I can't decide, because this is like pure science fiction. It's the most preposterous of the stories. It's the most unbelievable of the stories. And I think because of that, it's the most fun of the stories, in a way. But I am going to put it under the Golden Meteor, just because I really like that opening to the Golden Meteor. And then The Mysterious Island, which was also, I think The Mysterious Island is probably going to be about the same place as the Journey to the Center of the Earth, until I reread that one. So this is the final ranking. It's all personal and subjective, of course. But I have L'Étoile du Sud, The Vanishing Diamond on top, which is actually quite surprising. But I really liked this one. It was so much fun. Followed by La Chasse au météore, or The Chase of the Golden Meteor. Voyage au centre de la terre, The Journey to the Center of the Earth, followed by Les Indes noires, which is The Child in the Cavern, followed by, oh, you know what, I'm going to put the Chinese above, you know what, I'm changing, right, Journey to the Center of Earth is followed by The Tribulations of a Chinaman in China, followed then by 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is then followed by Les Indes noires, the Child in the... Yes, it's in the tavern. Followed by Drame en Livonie, which is the drama in Livonia, which is the murder mystery, because that one is just so simple. And last place is Robur le Conquérant. So this is where we're at right now. Oh, and if you're curious as to which of these is the one that was published posthumously, it's actually one of the ones that are my favorite, surprisingly enough, and that is The Chase of the Golden Meteor, which I put in second place. So interesting. But yeah, here are the final results. yeah, now I want to go read a lot more Jules Verne to add to this pile and see if my ranking changes at all. And someday I'm gonna have to reread The Mysterious Island because I really, really want to. So next time I'm in France, I'm gonna have to buy a copy of that. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. This video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would be. I really was convinced. I convinced myself it was gonna be like a 10-minute, 13-minute video. But I like to talk too much. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my video next week, which will be my wrap up for the month. So thanks for watching. Bye.